You're listening to Small Business Talk with Jerry. Sit in on great conversations with entrepreneurs who risk everything chasing the American dream.
Hey everybody, another episode of Small Business Talk with Jerry. Jerry, everybody hope I have a great night. I have Ryan and Tiffany here with me tonight. I'm going to let those guys introduce themselves. We'll start with Ryan.
Hey, I'm Ryan Laudon with SERVPRO. I'm the Director of Business Development. Local guy here in the Rochester area. Live in Plainview, but work in Rochester. And just happy to be here and be a part of this. And I'm excited to do this podcast with you guys. And
great.
Looking forward to it.
I think it's going to be fun. Tiff, how are you doing?
Good.
Good
Tiffany
to have you back.
Olson. Yeah, I'm with Elder Network, but excited to be a co-host with you tonight.
First time as a co-host. Ben has been a guest.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. So how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing great. Just got done with work and headed right over to here to meet with you guys, but doing well. Thank you.
Good. Yeah. Found it all right?
Absolutely.
Pretty easy. One turn and
it was very easy. Thank you.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
So I should mention Tiffany is with Elder Network, as she said, and she is in our Small Business Referral Group, SBR Group. Ryan is also with SERVPRO, and he's also in SBR Group, a different day. You're on Wednesday, correct?
Wednesdays.
Yep, so he's with Jordan and Doug. And did you guys join right away, or was it?
I joined in August, and I mean, that's pretty much right away.
We started August.
I think I was a month behind, maybe.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
So I've been along since we started.
How's it been for you?
It's been great for me.
Little selfless plug for SBR.
There you go. It regenerizes me, or re-energizes me rather, for the week, and refocuses me on what I need to do and how I need to do it. And there's a good group of people on Wednesday. I'm sure there isn't every day that they have a chance. But I mean, it's a good group, and we all mesh well together, and it's been very beneficial for me in regards to generating leads and creating relationships in the community. So yeah, it's been a really good thing for us.
You're the smarter group starting at 11. We're the
Right?
Crazies that start at 7 a.m.
I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't. I'm not a morning person. I'll admit it. First to admit it. But when I found out that there was actually James Stein is in our Wednesday, and I met him at.
He's a good kid.
Yeah,
smart.
Very. Yeah, I met him at a Rochester area builders networking night over at Carpet One. That would have been last year.
Okay.
And he invited me to the meeting.
Oh, okay.
And
Nice.
I was like, I don't do mornings.
No.
I'm not a morning guy. I'm not going to be as productive and early in the morning anyways, right? And so I've been in sales my entire life, so I'm on that sales timeline, right? So, starting at 11:30 was crucial. It was a decision maker for me.
There you go.
So.
Yeah, and see, like I'm that guy that, when I was younger, I had to set an alarm, and I had to set an alarm for 3 minutes after my alarm went off to make sure that when they would start snoozing, they would both go, and I just had to constantly be banging on something. And, now I'm the old guy that just lays there and looks at the ceiling about 8 minutes before the alarm goes off at 5:25 in the morning. At, quarter after 5, I'm just like, I could be doing something instead of laying here. This is dumb. And so, the 7 o'clock for me, it just another day. But
Not me. I'm 10 minutes late every day.
Are you? Yeah.
But my day job is in IT, and they don't really start till 9. So
Right.
then I could do this piece before them. But
well, that's kind of the idea of the 7 o'clock groups is kind of turn your unproductive time into productive time. Because most of us aren't at work at 7 a.m. I am typically, but most of the world isn't that dumb.
Wait a minute. When are you not working?
Yeah, there's that. It's,
It's just which
soon?
job you're working at, huh?
Soon, hopefully. Maybe, old guy, retired. I keep hearing that word, and it intrigues me. So I thought maybe someday.
Right. Well, the thing, too, with the SBRG is, everybody's busy, right?
Right.
And so you got to find time to plug that into your calendar and make sure you're there every week. And if you're not, try to find a sub.
Yeah.
My theory was on the 11:30 one was, I got to eat lunch anyways, right?
Yeah,
so I might as well go. I might as well go to the Eagles Club, grab a bite to eat, and network with other individuals and learn about them, and likewise. So
and even that falls into that turn your unproductive time. Lunch isn't necessarily unproductive, but you're not working. I mean, so it is. To a point, it still gets you that. And my with the old networking group I used to be in, it was Thursdays at 7 a.m.
Okay.
And so it's still that 7 o'clock in the morning thing. But I know what you mean about the re-energize. Now I'm in a Tuesday 7 a.m. So it almost feels like the beginning of my week.
Right.
You know, it's not really re-energizing because I'm just getting started.
Right.
But when I used to do the Thursday mornings, it's like there's weeks where you come Thursday morning, you're just kind of beat down.
Yeah.
And I hate being the guy that's looking for the weekend on Thursday, you know?
Right.
But I was that guy a lot. And I would go to the meetings and, you know, the people that you're surrounded by, and you look around the room and everybody's for the most part, you're in a good mood. And it's energizing. Absolutely. Yeah. And it just all of a sudden it made the end of the week. It gave me something to look forward to on Thursday rather than waiting for Thursday to look forward to the weekend.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So yeah, and now like say I'm in a little different spot on Tuesday, but I can see where that Wednesday kind of midweek blah that happens to all
Well,
of us.
everyone is choosing to be there instead of,
Right.
forced to be there.
Right.
So they're
Right.
figuring that
See?
Yeah.
out. Did it twice. You hit it two
I should-
Not
times.
once, but
I should have
twice.
mentioned that. No, I'm terrible. I do that all the time too.
But to your point, though, what you're kind of tired by Thursday because
Yeah.
you've been working all week already. Is
Yeah.
that Thursday morning chapter that you guys implemented?
Yep.
That's at 9 a.m. So
It's
it
at
isn't
9. Now
as
we've got a 9
it is-
o'clock.
right. So it isn't as early on a Thursday.
But there's a 7 and a 9,
There's
right?
a 7.
So,
Yeah, there's an established 7 o'clock, and the 9 is new as of 4 weeks ago.
right. New edition.
Yep, new edition. So, and then we have 2 starting in Owatonna, a 7 o'clock and a 11:30. I mean, they might have voted for 8 o'clock. I have to look at that, but same thing. It's the one early morning and then one lunch
Right.
hour.
Right.
So
and Mankato too, or just Owatonna right now?
Mankato is on the books, but it's not set yet.
Not
We don't
set.
have the members. Brainerd, we have a young gentleman. He's a realtor, Caleb Clicker. His dad is a good customer of mine and a friend of mine with a couple of my businesses, and that's how I met him. And he is all excited. He's starting to recruit people so we can move into Brainerd
To a
here.
Brainerd area.
Yeah,
Nice.
so we're hoping by the end of 25 or first quarter of 26, we're in Mankato. Well, of course, we'll be in Owatonna, but Mankato, La Crosse, Brainerd, and then 3 to 4 in the Twin Cities to get started. I mean, the Twin Cities, we could put 30 up there and not, interfere with each other. So, but I have people in Nebraska that want us to get going. They're going to help us recruit in Grand Isle, Lincoln, and Omaha. We have a gentleman in Milwaukee. We have one in Green Bay. I have 2 in Boston, 1 in West Hartford, Connecticut. So, I mean, we've got people all in
Spots.
Florida and one just outside of Chicago. This is embarrassing. I don't remember the name of the town, but it's a smaller outer suburb of Chicago.
Yeah.
But yes, but the word's getting out and they're calling, going, when are you coming here? And they're calling me from wherever. I'm like, never. I mean,
Right.
yeah, we have no
Tell
plans
me
for
why,
it.
and
Yeah.
I'll come there.
Right, but that's really what it comes down to. It's like, do you have other people that want to get involved? I mean, if you've got anybody there that wants to put a little bit of effort in to just get us some names, we'll take that and run with it. But we'll come tomorrow if you've got people. So it's a good organization. I've been real proud of it so far.
Well, you should. It's been going on. It'll be
It'll be a
1
year.
year in August.
This, yep, a
1
year,
year.
So
a
I
year
mean,
and a
just
couple
think about
weeks.
the growth in 12 months.
Yeah.
I mean, that's tremendous.
It's been great. I've been really excited. So I'm ready to retire from at least some of the other stuff to kind of put a little more effort into this.
I
But
think you're a liar.
well, maybe on that. But I
You
but I
were-
would like to.
You were bad at that week of sitting still after surgery, so I
Yeah.
don't believe
Well,
that.
Yeah, there was that. That's the wife was not happy with me about that. They told me the surgery didn't go as well as they had planned, so they're like 6 to 8 weeks, and it was on a Friday. So the next 5 days, I'm taking drugs and trying not to, be miserable. Then about Wednesday, the next week, I'm like, I'll try it with just Tylenol. Didn't go so bad. Thursday was a little better. Friday was a little better. The weekend went okay. Monday I went to work.
Yeah.
And I've been there since.
Zero surprise.
Yeah. Well, matter of fact, tomorrow is 4 weeks from surgery.
Yeah.
And I've been back to work for 3 weeks. And
Oh,
it's just,
wow.
but I don't feel bad, and I'm not lifting anything, so I'm not breaking any of their rules other than.
True.
But yeah, end of next week, I have my appointment to discuss when I go back to work.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
You go back to
Yeah,
work,
so next week, I think next Wednesday or Thursday, I have an appointment to discuss when I go back to work.
And is
So
she mad that you're back, or like, yes, he's out of the house?
initially she was mad. Now I think we've moved into the next phase of that. I don't know how many steps there are to it exactly,
Yeah.
but we're definitely in the relieved one now. So, I guess let's talk about Ryan a little bit. This is your
Yes.
episode. Have you always been a Rochester person or Plainview in this local area? Or
No, well, so I grew up in Plainview, Minnesota.
Okay.
Well, I was born in Rochester. moved to Plainview in 3rd grade.
Okay.
Went to school there that my entire elementary, middle school, high school, graduated from there.
So you're a small town guy.
I'm a small town guy
Good.
at heart. Yes. Went to college in Duluth, Minnesota, to Lake Superior College for firefighting. So
Nice.
Yep, fire technology and administration. Did that and struggled to get a job out of college. In that particular world, the fire world, at that point in time, and it was either, hey, someone needs to retire, or
sure.
B, someone unfortunately would pass away
Yeah.
to get a position in a fire department. And that's how hard it was to get on a full time without relocating somewhere else in the United States.
Right.
So,
Right.
and at that time, I'm 20 years old. I wasn't like, I want to move to Florida and be a firefighter. Yeah. So, I didn't really branch out. So there's that. Got to the point where I was like, all right, Mom's like, you don't have a job. You're done with college.
Figure something out.
You're out of here. You can't be staying here. So,
Yep. Yeah. Life has changed a bit in that regard. Yeah. It's like, we don't wait till you're 35 now to say it. Yeah.
No, it was like, all right, you can come here for like 2 weeks and then you're out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can come back often enough so you don't starve to death, but you're going to skip some meals in between and you're going to get hungry.
Oh, absolutely. That was college.
Yeah, right.
That was college. But anyways, then I jumped right into sales. I started working in the footwear industry. For Brown Shoe Company, which you would know as like Famous Footwear, factory brand outlets, things like that.
Okay.
And I did that as like an assistant manager. Moved in with a couple buddies, and like everybody does at 20 years old, and we rented a house and just built that career super quick. It was a really quick.
That's how sales. You either have it or you don't.
Yeah,
I really believe
And
that.
I don't.
You can hone. And you can hone your skills, of course, like anybody.
Right.
But I think to get started, it either works or it doesn't. Yeah.
And I was blessed that I met someone that believed in me as
Sure.
a mentor, and gave me an opportunity to jump into a store management role at a very young age. I think I was like 22.
Oh wow.
Running my own store, and so I was blessed in that facet and was allowed the opportunities to grow fairly quickly.
Sure.
And did that for years, and then I'd gotten married at 26, had my first daughter at 26. Ava, she's my oldest daughter, and
So she's what, 6 now? No, just
yeah,
kidding.
right. She'll be 16 in September. So there's a lot that comes with that too. But yeah, so
You've got a lot of hair for a 16-year-old
I'm doing
daughter.
pretty good.
Yeah, you're doing pretty
Yeah.
good. That's the beard's not all gray yet. I'm
it's-
impressed.
I've been blessed with good genes, I guess, right?
I was thinking a good daughter, but whatever.
Yeah,
Call it what you want.
Genes. It's
And
genes. I bet they stressed you.
Yes, and they
Poor
are good.
Jarrell's full gray now from ours.
Oh god, it's a challenge.
I'm only
every day.
36, so no, I'm just
Right.
kidding.
Me
But-
too.
Then I kind of got sick of working for people. I wanted to kind of do something on my own, and so talking with my wife at the time, I said, hey, I kind of want to start my own business. I don't even know what that looks like yet. I don't even have an idea. And, she kind of gave me the idea of, well, why don't you stay in the footwear business? You've been doing that your whole career.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yes.
At this time, geographically, where were you?
Rochester.
You were in Rochester. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I did live a bunch of different places in between. I'm jumping around, but so we looked at like Red Wing shoes, and so met with them and developed a strategy and a plan to purchase a Red Wing shoe store from their corporate.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
And so they had a list of like 120 stores around the country that were for sale, and some were corporate owned, some were already dealer owned, meaning someone was already a dealer that was looking to retire or whatever. But
So Red Wing does both. They have corporate stores and franchised.
yes, as of today, still they do. But most of a Red Wing shoe store that you will see is a dealer store.
Okay. Franchised.
Metro areas, yeah, there's probably going to be a corporate store.
Sure.
There, but, so anyway, we narrowed it down to Savannah, Georgia, Austin, Texas, and Portland, Oregon. All different climates, all
Very
different
Wow,
places.
very different.
And I knew going into this that it was going to be a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really care where we lived because I was like, I'm going to be working.
Yeah, you're gonna be
You know,
working. Yeah.
and
In the beginning, for sure.
Yeah, and she was a stay-at-home mom, so I thought it was important for her to decide, where do you
Pick
want to
the
live? You're the
location.
one that's going to be
Yeah.
Enjoying those climates and whatnot. And so she got on a plane and was going to travel each 3 of those locations. And she flew to Savannah, and she called me that night. And she's like, "We're moving to Savannah."
This was the first one she went to?
First one.
First
I
one.
said, "Well, don't you want to look at the others?" "Nope, this is where I want to be."
Wow.
So we moved. At that time, she was pregnant with our youngest daughter, Claire, and she's 12 now.
Yeah, two
daughters.
Two,
Yep, Ava and Claire.
Oof.
And
That's brave.
oh,
I have a son and a daughter. My son is the oldest, and I've told my daughter many times, love her to death, right? Love her to death, do anything for her. But I've told her, I said, honey, if you were my first, you'd have been my last. Anybody who has 2 daughters, you are a brave soul, my man.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that.
And I'm blessed they're good girls, and so I'm blessed that way. So far.
Girls love their daddies.
Yeah.
That's the rule.
Some days they do, sometimes they don't, but I'm strict.
More
too
than their
strict.
mamas, I promise you.
Yeah. But when that straw breaks with Dad, it breaks hard.
That's
Oh,
true.
yeah.
That's
but,
true.
Yeah, but it comes back. So.
Right. It's more, I think as a dad, it's more of a disappointment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of course, you're upset right away, but then really you sit back, you're like, I'm really disappointed, And you have to, in my opinion, parent girls different than boys. And,
Oh, yeah, no question.
it's a whole different thing, especially as a dad.
Yeah.
And so.
But that brings its own problem. Again, as a dad of a boy and a girl, that brings its own problem because now they both look at it going, well, you wouldn't have done that. You didn't do that for me when
Right.
Dustin was older. Then it's like Haley would do something. He's like, oh, you're soft, Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you tell a teenager who's mad at you that it's different?
Yeah.
You're not wrong. I did handle this situation differently, but if this were your little brother, I would have handled it exactly the same as I did with you. But that's not very comforting to
Or
them at the time.
no, because sometimes it's an age thing too, not necessarily a gender thing. Like, the big
Sometimes.
sibling might act very differently than
Yeah.
the,
Well-
so now I have to address that where it's
Dustin was fair about that because he would, as the older sibling, he would kind of say, when I was her age, that kind of thing. He understood that.
that part.
Yeah, because there's a 10-year gap between my kids.
Sure.
So, you couldn't compare apples to apples in that. When she was 10, he was 20. I mean, I was, I'd already lost control way
Right.
before that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's interesting, but
Yeah.
so yeah, I did that. Lived down in bought that Savannah, Georgia store. Did that. Turned it around very quickly. I mean, it was a very low volume store. Needed a good manager in there. So
is Red Wing? I mean, because Red Wing's from Red Wing, Minnesota.
They're from Red Wing, Minnesota. Yeah.
Does it have a stronghold in like Georgia? Was it a known name when you were there?
It is because of it being an American-made company. Not
Okay.
fully. I mean, I'd say about 65% of their total inventory is still manufactured in the U.S. The rest overseas.
Well, like here, when we talk about quality work boots, I mean, you're in the service industry. I'm in the service industry. When you talk about quality work boots, there's plenty of quality work boots out there. But here, the very first thing at top of mind is Red Wing.
Because we're in their back door.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that's my question. When you're in Georgia and you say quality work boots, is Red Wing a household name there?
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
Okay.
And it's worldwide.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They're worldwide. And so it's, I will admit to you, yeah, there is a company down there that's called Georgia Boot.
Okay.
They're all manufactured overseas. So our big selling feature then was, hey, made in the U.S.
Right.
And down there, it's Fort Stewart. You got Fort Hunter there, or Hunter Army Airfield, I mean.
You're not fighting the Minneapolis or the New York and L.A.
No.
You can't put an American flag out there and you're a bad person.
Right.
Yeah.
No, there's none of
different
that.
mentality.
And so, no, it's just, I would say that you would get that question a lot. Why should I buy Red Wings over a Georgia Boot? And we're from Georgia. Well, because you get quality, and quality always wins.
Mm-hmm.
Comfort and quality, that is.
Well, Red Wing shoes, I mean, Red Wing boots are amazing. I mean, when I had to wear steel toes, that's all I would buy. And it was, back then, I didn't have the money for Red Wings. Because they're not cheap.
And they're not getting any cheaper.
No, I bet not.
No.
I bet
so
not.
just like everything goes up, right?
Yeah.
And, and so now they're very expensive.
Yeah.
And so
But such a good product.
it made it I don't want to say easy to sell, but they sold themselves.
Yeah.
If you drive to a Red Wing shoe store, you're going there to buy a pair of
Yeah,
Red Wings.
you're
You're
not
not going there
just
to look.
Right.
Right? It's a destination type
Right.
store. And so you treat your customers in that fashion.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, I knew you came here to see us. What can I do? And so it's a little bit more personalized. I don't know if you've ever been in a Red Wing shoe store or not, but it's very personalized. It's very one-on-one, and I like that.
Yeah.
Most of my career prior to that was women's footwear.
Oh, okay.
And so I've got to be on both sides of that because, and I'm not saying that women don't wear work boots because they do.
Sure.
Because I think it was 18% of our total volume was women. So
Really?
That's a big number.
That's a big number for work boots.
Work boots, and we can have some that fit, right?
Yeah.
And different widths and things like that.
Right.
So
Not trying to find a man's boot that you can fit in, that you can make work.
and believe it or not, that's what a lot of females will do is convert sizes for work boots, and really that's kind of BS in my opinion.
So yeah, I'll tell you, before last year, I was 340, almost 350 pound guy. The last thing I need is uncomfortable footwear.
Right.
That's miserable.
Oh,
that makes for, I stand all day, and that's miserable. I couldn't imagine not finding good shoes that fit right.
Yeah.
That's two different things too.
Well, and that it brings that up, as my dad told me at a very young age, when he was trying to teach me how to manage money at a young age, is there's 3 things you really spend your money on, and that's a good bed, a good pair of work shoes, and a reliable car.
Mm-hmm.
And those were the 3 things he always said you need to have your money for. And so I don't know if that somehow influenced me to get in the footwear business.
Right.
I don't know that answer, but yeah. So anyways, blew up the Red Wing thing, purchased a mobile shoe truck, which is kind of like a food truck in a way. And so what you do is you work and build relationships with the different facilities in your area, and you provide that service to them. It's a free service. You come on site to the job sites. Half the shoe truck is a showroom, and the other half is the stock room.
Sure.
Okay.
And so it's a mini store on wheels.
Right.
And so that was very lucrative, and so we built that up.
Really?
Yeah, built that up.
That's cool. I
I
didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. But it makes sense, right? A manufacturing location.
Yeah,
or
right. You go to a
something,
factory, it's got
I'll just get all
couple
you
hundred
guys.
employees or more.
Well, you got to think about it. They require you to wear safety footwear.
Yeah.
And so it's easy for them to bring us on site before their shift or at lunch.
Yep.
Because they don't want to pay them to go get their shoes. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
God forbid.
Yeah.
And so, did that and then opened another store in Pooler, Georgia, which is right out the suburbs of Savannah.
So this did not exist before you
No,
started it.
Brand new store.
Good for you. That's ballsy.
And built that up,
Yeah.
and then shortly after that, opened another store in Augusta, Georgia. And so that's about, in the Midwest, we do everything by time, right? So that's about 2.5, 3 hour drive from Savannah. So,
Okay.
and did that for, 10 years.
Wow.
And had since got divorced back in 2018. And so down south, when we moved there, we didn't have anybody.
Sure.
It was just me and my wife and our kids. We didn't have any family, no friends. And so, we joined a church and met people through that way, and, neighbors and things like this. But found that it was kind of a lonely place to be when she's on her own with the kids on her week or vice versa. And I rode my motorcycle up, I think it was like right after COVID, or right during, because I remember you'd still have to wear your mask in the gas station. So anyways, rode up, visited my mom for, I think it was 2 weeks. And I took all back roads up here, no interstate on my motorcycle, it was just me and the roads.
Fun ride.
And I spent time with my childhood friends, my mom, my brother, my nieces and nephew.
And how long had it been since you'd been able to do that or had done that?
That long of a time? Never.
Never.
Prior to that.
Sure.
Yeah, it was. Every visit was quick. In and out. Got to get back to work.
Back to the store.
Yep.
The stores.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, at that point in my time in my life, I was more of an owner than an operator. And so I thought, well, maybe I can make this work and move back to Minnesota, where all my close family is, my friends, everybody. Because I just had a ball. Like when you pull into your hometown and you haven't been there a while, I don't know if that's happened to you guys in your life, you just feel home.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm home. All the stress is off my shoulders. I'm going to a place that's safe. It's just it's a feeling that you only feel when you move away from it.
Right. Right.
You know, or haven't been back in a couple months or something like that. You
Yep.
know, and so anyways, I called my ex-wife when I got home. I go, hey, I'm gonna ask you a question. I'll never ask you again. But do you have any interest in moving back to Minnesota? And she's like, yep. She didn't even. I mean, it was like that.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like that. And so she got excited because her parents are from the cities, and and
Sure.
all of our kids, my kids and her kids, will have all their cousins and grandparents, and so it was a family decision to
a
move
divorced
back
family.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
and we do
weird.
We do
but very cool.
Yeah, we do co-parent very well.
Good.
You know, for
Good
our
for the
girls,
kids.
and we get along, and it works out really well. And so, anyways, now I'm working from home. Right, I'm back in Minnesota. I bought a house in the country, loving it, and now I'm like, you know, one of my friends stopped and visited me, and he goes, you know, if you're just gonna sit up in that house the next, you know, how many years, you're gonna be dead.
Yeah.
And you know, I laughed at it at the time, but it really hit me.
Yeah.
And I went,
he's
oh
not
my
wrong.
God, he's right. Like, I need to get out and go do something.
Yeah.
And so I met with a guy. I don't know if you know Paul Meyer in Rochester.
I know who he is, but I don't know him
Yeah,
personally.
so he owns SERVPRO.
Okay.
And he also owns Meyer Design Plus Build, which is a custom home building company here in Rochester. Had lunch with him and his partner, Mike, and we hit it off. And I said, you know, they were looking for a business development manager, and I thought, well, my girlfriend saw it, and she sent it to me, and she said, I think you'd do really well with this. I'm like, well, that's what I've been doing for the last 20 years is
Right.
developing
Growing businesses,
relationships.
Yeah.
And so I had no experience in the restoration world whatsoever. But Paul and Mike saw something in me and wanted to bring me on. And it's been a great ride.
So how long have you been with SERVPRO?
In August, it'll be 1 year. So
Okay.
the same amount as SBRG.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
it's new. It's brand new. I mean, even a year, you're brand new,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Right.
You know, and so it's a very unique business. Nobody wants to call SERVPRO, right? Because then something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something bad.
Something bad's
Yeah.
wrong. But, you know, my goal is to get out in the community and let people know, hey, if you do have those issues, you got a guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You know, you got a guy that you can trust, that you've talked to, that's going to help you along the way through that process that you're going through. And it's very, you know, unfortunate that those events happen to people, but it's reality.
Right.
Well,
right.
and similar to like you said with your Red Wing shoes, I'm a destination. Like you need me.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
I didn't want this to happen, but
Right.
you need me. So
Yes.
now I'm going to treat you right. type
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah, yeah. And
Well,
it's a painful process
I
because
bet.
you have to, you know, call us or your insurance. Hey, my house flooded, or I had a house fire, or you know, there's a lot of services. We can get into that with SERVPRO. There's a laundry list of what
yeah.
we do, but our bread and butter is fire and water.
Sure.
You know, mitigation.
Yeah.
And so, and we also do the reconstruction as well. So, you know, if you have a flood in your basement, we'll come in and take care of it. We'll mitigate all of it, and then we'll build it back too.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what really sets us apart from everything else is that build back part.
Sure.
You know, and
Right.
being with them through that whole process, not just, hey, we got all the water out of your basement, see ya.
You're right.
Yeah, we cut up all your drywall. We got a
Right.
pile of garbage
Yeah.
over here in the corner, but it's all dry.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
I don't think I'd like to be a part of that
No.
part. You know,
No, but they're out there. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I was gonna say, you know this. I don't have to tell you. Those guys are out there.
yeah.
And it's just they cut up the drywall. They leave a pile of garbage, and it's dry when they leave.
Yes.
It's like, but you
Yeah.
know what you said earlier. You know that you've got a guy. That in a nutshell, for me, is the real reason, the core of SBR. You know, of Small Business Referral Group is. For years, I mean, we've talked about this. I mean, you've called me on things that have nothing to do with automotive, but my phone rings at Broadway Car Care, and it's Tiffany or it's her sister.
It's
you know,
Tara,
It's Tara a lot of times.
oftentimes,
Yep, and she'll just ask me some off the wall question that has nothing to do with cars, but she'll tell me that she starts by telling me a story of what's going on, you know, and then it leads to, and then this happened, and I'm like, oh, that sounds terrible. She goes, do you have a guy? Do you have a guy, you know, for this? And it's like, and again, it has nothing to do with automotive, but I spent 20 years in my other networking group, and now with this,
Yeah.
you're surrounded. And for me, that's the real premise, because there's nothing more comforting than knowing that when something bad happens, you've got a guy.
Yeah.
You know, a guy, a gal. I shouldn't just say a guy, but you know what I mean.
Right.
By that, and when you get into a networking group like this, all of a sudden, well, I shouldn't say all of a sudden, over the course of 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, you become the guy that knows the guy.
Oh, for
you
sure.
know, and you're all of a sudden the go-to guy, even though I don't know much about anything, but I know people that do. And I keep that, I keep that mental Rolodex, and it's not even mental anymore. It's literally the little business card binders we hand out when you join to keep it in check.
Yeah.
Well, and nowadays it's more the who not to go to, right? Like you could.
It is. Because you can Google. I mean, every one of us pick up our
but-
phone. We can have an answer in 8 seconds.
Right, but talking to somebody and saying who shouldn't I go to
Right.
almost is more important than
Right.
who should I go
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Well, like, Stephen Rose,
Oh,
with
yeah.
Bright Computers. He's
Yeah.
in our Wednesday group.
Yep.
He always, him and I get along really well. And
He's
he
good
always
people.
says, it's not what you know, it's who you
Yep.
know.
Yeah.
And it's so true.
It is.
You know,
It is.
and that's the beauty of SBRG is, yeah, I might go to the Wednesday chapter, but I can reach out to anybody in that group, and I know that they're going to pick up the phone and give me the best guidance
Right.
that is out there. And you trust them because you're part of that group, and you
Right.
know what the core is to that group. You know that everybody in that group is there for the same reasons
Right.
you are, and that's
Well,
to
like-
generate relationships in business.
Yeah, like Tiffany said earlier, you're not in a room full of people that have to be there and they're begrudgingly there. These people all chose to be there. They wrote a check to be
Yeah.
there. And obviously, we talked about money before when we were off air. We talked about how some of these other networking groups have, doubled, tripled their pricing. When you look at SBR, not to give another shameless plug to SBR, but the money is minimal. It's not very expensive.
No.
But at the end of the day, I would never try to sell you on coming to SBR because it's inexpensive. Because the money isn't the investment, the time is.
Yeah.
And your time is worth a lot.
Oh, it is.
It is. And
Yeah.
you have to give a lot more time to SBR than you do money. So if we want to talk about the cost of SBR or any of these networking groups at all, even the ones that are charging triple what we are, that's still not the expense, the real expense. It's the time.
Yeah.
And as you said, you get out of it what you put into it. If you show up, once a month, you're not going to build a relationship.
No.
If you don't build a relationship, now you're not the guy that knows the guy.
Right.
And that's a big part of that. That's a big feather in your cap, and that in itself brings you business.
Oh,
because
for sure.
because now
Yeah.
people know you're the guy. Well, what happens when your friends, your family, your coworkers, your clients get to know that Ryan's the guy that knows the guy, Tiffany's the gal that knows all the guys, and they're calling on you? What happens when they need something that you offer?
Oh, right.
I mean, who are they going to call? They're
Right.
not
Right.
right. That's just a no-brainer at that point if it's something that you can offer them. I've been dying to ask this since you went through the whole started 2 new stores after you're buying your first one. Do you still have your Red Wing stores?
I have one left.
You have one left.
Yes.
Okay.
I have one left. I sold my Pooler store, and I skipped it. I did have to close one store. The Pooler store that I opened cannibalized the other store, which I actually, you can't prove anything, but I knew that probably would happen.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I was okay with that because all of the industry was on that side of town anyway.
Sure.
And with the Red Wing is you want to put your stores where the industry is.
Right.
Yep.
So
Right.
that way when they get done with work, they can pop in or...
Yeah, Red Wing's not a mall store.
No, it's not a true...
Yeah.
It is retail, but it really isn't.
Right.
It's, I would say, at least the stores that I were
Retail gives
involved
you
with-
access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Yep.
and so, anyways, yes, I still have the one Augusta store.
How often do you step foot in the store?
Not as much as I should, and it's because I got a lot of irons in the fire here in Rochester, Minnesota. And,
Yeah.
I tried to get down there once a quarter,
Sure.
and it just wasn't happening. It just wasn't allowed. But the beauty is the guys I work for know that I have that. We talked about that when we interviewed. Is hey, I have a business.
Yep.
There's many times I have to field a phone call or an email or jump on a Teams meeting for Red Wing, and they totally supported that. And that's how I knew I was getting involved with a good group of people. Was they supported that. And
Well, and Paul, he owns 2 businesses,
Yep.
so he understands that
Multi.
the multi-business
Right.
mentality.
right, and he supports it. If
That's good.
if I have to go do an inventory, or if I have to go down there for a Christmas party for them, anything like that. He never bats an eye. Absolutely, good luck and travel safe, and that weighs a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, to me, my time's worth more than anything.
Right. Right.
And especially now that I technically have 3 jobs.
Right.
And so time is everything. And the most important job I have is being a dad.
Yeah.
And so I have to remember that, because I am ambitious. I do want to go out there and do big things in the community professionally. But at the end of the day, my kids are looking at me as their dad, and so I have to make that my number one priority. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not.
Yeah, none of us are. I made a lot of mistakes with my oldest, with Dustin, because, I grew up I was adopted by my grandparents. So there was I skipped a generation. So I was raised by 2 generations back, in that sense. So the values are different, for sure. And so for me, my ex-wife, she was a good mom. She's a good mom. So for me, I thought being a good dad meant making sure the lights are on, the heat works, there's food in the fridge, right? There's clean clothes in the, there's plenty of clothes to be cleaned, if you will, in the dresser, that kind of thing. And so I was never home. I was always working. I've always had some kind of side hustle or multiple businesses going on, or run, that kind of thing. And it really deteriorated my relationship with my son.
Well, you were raised to be a provider.
Right.
Let's not beat around the bush. Back when even my grandparents, my grandfather was a provider.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't come out and say, I'm the provider of this.
No.
But you just saw it.
But you saw it.
It was instilled in you.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at, and again, this is going to sound terrible, but it's reality. My dad, I never saw him throw a load of laundry in.
Right.
I mean, he would bake things. He was an incredible baker, and he loved doing it. But he didn't make dinner.
No, he did that because he wanted to, not because he.
Right, the baking.
Chore.
Right,
it wasn't a chore.
Right, it wasn't a chore. We didn't need him to bake, but he loved it, and that was kind of a release for him. But on the same token, when it snowed like a son of a gun in Minnesota, and someone had to get up at 4:30 in the morning and make sure that our driveway and sidewalks were shoveled, and then we had elderly neighbors. We were in an old part of Stewartville, just not too far away, but it was a dead end street, and all the houses, with the exception of like 3, were elderly couples or elderly widows. And so my dad would be out there with a snowblower at 4:30 in the morning, and he'd do 3 driveways, and I'd be out there with him when I was old enough, and I'd be out there shoveling sidewalks, while he was blowing driveways and things. And of course, Mom didn't shovel snow. She didn't mow lawn.
Right.
She didn't have to. That they had their roles that they liked. But yeah, like I said, I never saw my dad throwing a load of laundry. But I never saw my mom ask him to either.
Right.
To be fair, but my mom didn't work. She was a mom, and she had an important job, and she did very good at it.
Yeah, the most important job.
Right. But my dad, and she would always tell us that she was never. How do I say this? She never talked about the roles they had like it was a bad thing. She would explain to me that as the man of the family, your dad's not here right now because he's making sure that I have everything I need to take care of you.
Right.
And so she 100% supported that old school, dad's the provider. And you say provider, but he's the one that brought the money in. And, and he took care of anything that got greasy, dirty,
Right.
that kind of thing. If you had to break a sweat doing it. But Mom took care of the kids, and she, kept the house clean, and she, whatever, the laundry. And it was very 1920s old school, but that's how I grew up. And, my wife is very on board with that also, but it's just, it's how you're raised.
It is. It truly is, and, with like my oldest, sometimes we'll butt heads a little bit. And, being in their mother and I are split up, and I'm sure that's not easy on them. I know it's not easy on them. And, there's times I'll say things and, I don't even realize that it might hurt her feelings or whatever. And I have to take a step back with her and go, hey, just so you know, this is my first time being a dad.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I've never been a dad before.
Yeah.
You. And so I'm learning. I'm still learning.
I lost my
sorry.
manual.
Yeah, exactly.
I lost the book.
But just to your point about you talking about your son, there's a few things you felt like you messed up.
Yeah.
Well, you've never done that before.
Yeah.
You didn't know. There's not a book or a manual to tell you, hey, here's how you're going to do this or that.
And I started at 19, which was way too early to be having kids. You're a kid yourself, at that point.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's, but do you mature in a hurry. I mean, with that. But yeah, no, I made a lot of mistakes, and it hurt our relationship for a long time. But at the end of the day, he's a good man. I'm proud of him. So it's just a matter of letting him know that once in a while.
Yeah. Well, that's your most important job.
Yeah.
Is being a dad.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and teenagers their feelings are always hurt. So
Oh, for sure.
Well,
For sure.
it's funny. My daughter is married, and I give her husband a hard time because he has no problem doing laundry, pitching in, sharing and doing the things. And I remember I was picking on him about something, and I said something about laundry, and Haley, my daughter, she's like, "Chris does laundry. When's the last time you did laundry?" I'm like, we should really talk about something else.
Yeah,
This
right.
is,
Yeah, this isn't relevant to my life. Right.
yeah, like I don't know what you're getting at, but
Never mind,
but
never
we're not going
mind.
to talk about that.
Right.
But we all joke about it. And then anyway, Heather, it's funny because Heather will come right to my defense and go, "I don't ask him to. I don't wait for him to do it. I don't ask him to." And it's like, but we just, like I say, different roles.
Yeah.
And
You work
Yep.
together as a team.
yep,
And,
yep, and it works out.
And you figure it out.
Yep. And when someone needs help with something, you say it out loud and it happens.
Yeah.
That's the key. So
Yeah.
no, that's I know when right after my divorce, I got custody of Haley right away. She was only 9, and I bought a washer and dryer and put it into the rental house I was in because I went to the laundromat twice. It's enough of that.
Right.
I tell you, I don't know who invented laundromats. I know they're profitable. I've looked at buying or doing a couple myself, but until you actually have to use one.
Right.
I'll tell you what, there are very few experiences that don't involve physical pain that I would put ahead of going to a laundromat.
Well, you got to go in and then you got to come back.
And then you got to cut.
Yeah.
And so.
And then you got to come back again.
Yeah, it wasn't a girlfriend. It was just a friend of mine that happens to be a lady. She said, "Hey, you want to grab some dinner?" Yep, that'd be great. I said, "How about we do Subway, Stewartville, because there's a laundromat right next door. I've got it." She goes, "You're doing laundry tonight?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to do laundry, and we'll go grab just a sandwich." I mean, nothing fancy. It was just friends catching up.
Yeah.
And so I'm putting all the laundry in. She shows up, and I throw laundry in, put the money in. I go to the next one. I throw laundry in, put them in. She sees me do the second one. She's like, Did you set the washing machine?" I don't know. It worked for the last guy, right? So, and she just like lost her mind. She's like, "You've got to be kidding me." I'm like, "Okay, this is embarrassing, but it's true. So I'm just going to tell you." I mean, I was almost 40 years old, or about almost 40 years old, 38 years old. It's like, I've never done a load of laundry in my life. This is my first go at doing my own laundry. 38 years old, and it's like, whoever used this the last time, I'm sure they didn't change the settings that are done. Whatever they got, that's what I'm going to get.
They have done laundry, and I have not. So.
Yeah.
And she was just like, "This is crazy. I will help you." I'm like, "Okay, first off, we're not on a date. We're not connected at all. You're not doing my laundry.
Right.
This is, as much as I don't want to do my laundry, there's more of a case of me not wanting you to help do my laundry."
Right. That's
So,
right. I got this. Yeah.
Yep. And I was like, "So if I have pink shirts tomorrow and underwear that doesn't fit, well, then that's where I'm at." And that's nobody to blame but me.
That's
so
right. That's right. Yeah.
yes, and it didn't go well, to be fair.
Yeah,
So
she was right.
she was right. And yeah, I made it one more week at the laundromat, and then I went and called a friend of mine, a guy, and I said, "I need a washer and a dryer." He goes, "What do you want?" Dude, I told him a story I just told you guys.
Kind
and
of washes.
And he just kind of
things.
laughs. He's like, you're a storyteller. I've known you for years. That's a story." I'm like, "It is a story. It's also 100% true. I didn't embellish the story one bit. I did not throw a flair to it. That is exactly what happened." And he's like, "So you're telling me, I'm telling you, you could sell me whatever washer and dryer you want to sell me, and I won't know the difference.
Right.
So if you want to take care of me, get me something good, and I'm going to need a 5-minute tutorial on what all the stuff
buttons
means."
are.
Because, yeah, I said, "I'm the guy that buys a $1,000 iPhone. I make phone calls, I text people, and I take pictures."
Oh,
Yeah.
you're my dad.
All
all over again.
Amen. Yes, I love your dad already, but that's
All over again.
yeah. It's like I have this phone that is this mini supercomputer in my hand, and I'll show you how great a pictures it takes. I'll text like a madman, and I'll take a phone call. That's what I get out of it, you know.
And I always get the latest and greatest.
Yep.
And then use
Oh yeah, you
like
gotta.
0.5% of Wi-Fi or of data, and I'm like,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's it. And I always have to buy a big ass phone because I have pictures. I mean, I bet I have. How many do I have? this is going to be ridiculous. 5,670 items in my photo.
Why are they
cache.
on there?
Because that's where I took them.
No, but you could put them places.
But then I don't have them to look at them. Because I look at 5,600 pictures
I
quite
know you
often,
do.
of
You
course.
must.
Right? Right?
I don't know why. I don't know. And I'm also the guy that when I want to show you something on my phone, hang on. I'll be right with you.
Oh, you
Give me
have
a
to
minute.
scroll. You don't search.
I don't know how to. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm that
That's
guy.
painful to watch when
Yeah,
people let
it
me
is.
look. And they're just scrolling
Yeah.
and scrolling.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. And then to make the matters worse, you also go, oh, I must have missed it.
Right.
We'll come back to this.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. That's me. That's me. I'm not proud of it, but I can admit it. See, I can own it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you got the Red Wing shoe question.
Yes.
My dad was volunteer fire for
Ooh.
all of my life. So there's mine. Are you on the fire department?
No, I'm not.
In Plainview?
No, I'm not. And people have asked me to.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a tough time committing because of work
Mm-hmm.
and then getting the girls back and forth to Rochester. That's where they go to school.
Sure. That makes it hard.
And then they're in sports. And so my commitment would fail many people, and I hate failing people.
Right. Yeah.
I mean so I know
Well, how much time do you actually spend in
Plainview, I suppose. That's hard too.
That'd be hard if you're working outside.
evenings and weekends.
Yeah.
Well, there's enough.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is people will start to talk about the people that are not there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so, especially in a small town.
Right.
And I love them all, right? But I'm
Yeah.
just saying you don't show up, you're going to be known as the guy that doesn't show up.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I don't really,
But if they know that you're working in town and
Well, I don't
you get
know if-
used to those.
you
things,
know them
I think.
guys, are you really working on it? You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and that's the other side of that too. Is you when they have banquets, when they have fun things, you're gonna get pressured to go to all of that.
All of them.
Oh, yeah.
And then of course the people that are looking from the sidelines, they don't know the pressure that goes into showing up to that. So like, well, boy, Ryan's got all kinds of time to show up for the
Right.
banquets and for the the fun stuff.
Yes.
But we don't see him when the fire starts.
Right. And I'm at
yeah.
every one of those events. I can tell you it's.
Well, and it's hard now to retire from the fire department. Like my dad ended up moving and was in a different town, so that's why he left our little small town fire department. But
I've never been on a fire department. Do they have? I mean, that's a physical commitment too. Do they have age limits? Do you age out?
well,
Or
I think they encourage you. Most firefighters retire early. I mean, that's
Yes.
public knowledge, right?
yeah,
And-
paid firefighters certainly.
yeah,
yes,
of course.
paid for sure.
Volunteers tend to like, oh, he just drives now.
Yeah.
He just
Sure, to work around you a little
doesn't
bit.
even
Right.
put his bunker pants
Right.
on anymore.
Right. But he's there.
Yeah,
What is that?
And
he'll
so
do the hoses.
yeah.
But if
I-
something bad happens, you've got an extra pair of hands.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Sure.
But these guys that work full time that are paid, they're away from their families.
Mm-hmm.
3-4 days at a time,
Yeah.
and then they're home for they do get to be home, a lot too. But I think that plays a toll on most people. And
Well, the softball games and the volleyball games and the choir concerts and that kind of stuff. It's like well, I need that to be on my 4 days off. You don't get to
No,
pick
it doesn't
that.
work
that
Right,
way.
it doesn't work that way.
No.
No. So that's tough.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest things as I talk about myself a bit with my daughter. Like I coached her t-ball team. When she was 6 years old. I didn't do that for my son. I was busy. I was working. I was making sure that, and of course I was way young when I had my son. Then my daughter came along 10 years later.
Right.
And we had more money. We had more time. I didn't have to work
different
so hard.
stage.
Huge. I mean, I was busting my ass working all the time, and I wasn't making that much money. I mean, you're working day and night, and now if I work day and night, it does pretty well.
Right.
It's a good it's fruitful. But back then I worked day and night and still barely paid the bills.
Yeah.
You know.
I remember those days. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I didn't come from a wealthy family. I didn't have any,
No.
nothing
But
like
I
that.
think it's a different mentality too. Like I didn't. Now, if I miss anything of Jariah's, I feel terrible.
Yeah.
I have a 16-year-old.
Oh, okay.
But thinking back to like high school for me, I didn't even think about asking my folks to any of those things.
No.
Yeah.
And if they would have showed up, I would have been like,
yeah.
"What are you doing here?"
Me too. Yeah, same thing. My folks were, like I said, adopted by grandparents. So they just wanted to be involved in anything I did.
Yeah.
It was just, and I mean, they were wonderful people. I have 4 brothers and sisters, half brother, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But the youngest one was almost 20 when I was born.
Right.
And so
it's an interesting dynamic in your family because I'm 9 years older than my half brother.
Okay.
And he's my brother.
Yeah.
But when he was 9, I was going to college.
It's way different.
And so you never really built that relationship because he was a little kid when I left the house.
Right.
And I never came back home other than Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter kind of thing.
That's the world I grew up in. I mean, I have 3 brothers and a sister, which of course my sister is really my real mom. I mean, that's the dynamic here, adopted by grandparents.
Sure.
So, but growing up, she was 17 when I was born, and then moved out immediately. I grew up as an only child.
Right.
Sure.
And talk about, I mean, wonderful parents. I could just imagine being an only child to your grandparents.
Yeah.
I mean, it just,
It's certainly a unique situation, and
it was.
but
And
it built you to who you are right now.
It is.
And that's the way you have to look at that.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and truly,
Some of it was good.
right.
But yeah, it was a unique childhood, and it was always so different for me because, like, where most of the kids, their parents would be doing things with them. My folks would watch me do
Watch
them.
you do them.
Because they couldn't, they were old and not in the best of health, to be honest. So it was very unique that way.
Yeah.
And when my dad died, was dying, that's actually what kind of put me back with my biological mom. And we talk weekly, and it's been that way now since my dad passed in 2009.
Sure.
So it's been 15, 16 years. But I'm 54. So that didn't happen until I was almost 40 years old,
Yeah.
Yep. And now, she's kind of at the end of days. I mean, I don't know how much time we've got left. She has the same health issues that my parents had.
Sure.
And, I've always played the card when I go into Mayo, for instance, go to the doctor. It's like, we need your family history. I'm like, I'm adopted.
Yeah.
And they quit asking. They're like, oh, yeah. It's like, and I don't know who my dad. I don't know any history. I have no idea.
That was my next question: is if you did know.
Yeah.
Did you ever look into it?
No. No. I figured, and that was kind of my mentality with my real mom too. Was like, well, you gave me up.
Yeah.
Right.
So what do you want from me? I'm not going to put any effort into you. And when he found out that she was pregnant at 17, he just literally, she woke up one morning, he was gone.
Sure.
And then my dad had to drive to Texas to pick her up and bring her home because she kind of ran away with this guy.
Okay.
Then when he found out she was pregnant, he just left a 17 or 16-year-old,
right,
literally, in a hotel room. And then, obviously she was 17 when she had me. But yeah, my dad had to go back and bring her home. And then it was just a matter of, I grew up, like I say, as an only child. Everybody was moved out and gone. So for me, I never looked into it because I was like, well, you didn't even want to meet me.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm not, why would I crave your attention or want to go find you?
Well,
so,
you didn't have the resources then.
No,
like
not.
now you can just Google everything.
Right.
Whatever. You can get on these apps and find out who your heritage, where your heritage is. And
well, and there's a reason, right? Like, God made it that way for a reason.
Yep.
So here it is.
Yeah, you got to have a little faith in life, and I have very little. I'm not going to lie. So but this is how nonchalant I guess I am about it, and I don't know if that's the right word. Maybe it's not, but about probably 12 years ago, somewhere after her and I started talking again, I asked her. I said, "What's my real dad's name?" And she told me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
Really?
I kid you not. I don't remember. I don't remember what his name is. And I never Googled him. I never Facebooked him or tried, and of course he was older than her at the time, so he probably could have went to prison for if that would have been today's age. I don't know how old he was. But again, she told me his name, and I never tried to search him, but I don't even remember it to this day. I mean, she's still alive, so I could ask her again.
I was going to say, would you again, just for the sake of, the older I get, the more I think about it for medical purposes.
Yeah. Well, that would be nice to know if he if he was a schizophrenic or something.
I don't care to connect with you, but medically, do I have this in my history?
Well, he certainly didn't come try to find you either.
No.
So I mean,
and like I said, if he's older, I mean, she's I'm 54, she's 71, so it's like he's probably dead.
He might not
I mean,
be here,
and he could have, he could have died 30 years ago for all I know.
Sure.
I have no idea. But yeah, it just never interests me. So, you move on and make the best of what you've got.
Sure.
That's how it goes. Because my aunt and uncle are both adopted. And the one I think kind of wanted to know. The other one, my aunt was like, absolutely not. I've never had a reason to.
My mom and dad, I would even argue to the point, which I love the fact they told me right away that I was adopted. And I knew that Val was my mom, and they didn't know who my dad was. But I mean, they probably told me too early, because I didn't get it. It didn't upset me. It wasn't anything like that. So I think it was very good that I don't remember not knowing.
Sure.
That, if that makes sense. I don't remember when they told me. I don't ever remember the epiphany of, oh my God, I'm adopted. I just always knew. And so the question always comes up when the adoption thing comes up and you don't know your dad. That's always the first question. Like, have you ever looked for him? Have you put any effort in? Whatever. And people are usually amazed that I haven't. But like I've always said, when you're adopted, it's easy to get caught up on the fact that somebody didn't want you, that a human being could, a parent could drop you off at the fire station, that mentality. And for me, I never really, I think of it, that's one of the reasons I never looked for them. But so that thought crossed my mind. But for me, the big thing is, look at the right side of this. These people that have already raised 4 kids, the youngest one was 17. They don't need another baby in the house. I mean, no. I couldn't imagine taking my youngest is 25. I couldn't imagine having a newborn.
Yeah.
I couldn't. And so look at the positives. Like, these people, they truly care about you.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
there is nothing more important than you, because what else would they do?
Yeah.
And so for me, I always just looked at it going, I don't need another dad.
No.
I have one.
No, you're lucky you had him.
Right. No. I mean, that's for me.
Because it could have been the other way around, where,
if they'd have tried
your
to
mom
work it
didn't
out,
have great parents that, took on this role. They could have went so very sideways for you.
Well, and what if he had tried to stick around, do the right thing, but not a good person,
abusive or something,
right? And resents you for ruining his life. And I mean, there's just a million ways that could have just been horrible. I can't think of a way that it could have went better.
Yeah.
Right.
So for me, that was always my rebuttal on nope. And because my mom and dad had both asked, my biological mom has approached me saying, should we put some effort in this? And at that time, I wasn't really talking to her. I was like, no, I'd rather not talk to you.
Yeah.
Just hang up the phone.
Right.
So for my aunt, so my grandma almost died having my mom. But to be fair, that was in 56,
Sure.
But she always tells it that way. So I think my aunt and uncle feel more wanted, if you will. Because, I almost died having you.
Yeah.
And then we went and adopted you guys because I can't have any more. This one almost killed me. And I hear it in my mom's voice here and there, like, I almost killed her. Okay, Mom, but you didn't.
But you did.
Right.
Yes.
I know, but
she didn't drop you off the fire station.
She sure does always tell it. Like, we went and found Julie, and we went and got David. And I'm like, all right.
I bet that's a different dynamic too.
But it's odd. So well, and I always, that was the thing. I was like, Mom, I'm not having babies. I'm gonna just adopt. Because I had an adopted aunt and uncle.
Right.
Well, then when I got pregnant, she's like,
what happened?
You told me you were adopting. I was like, well, I can't give it's growing already. I can't give her back.
Nobody told me the beginning was so much fun.
Right.
I'm like, you are right, but this thing is growing, so we're doing it, I guess. The
practicing was a hoot. I'm ready for
Right. Oh, yeah.
Well, like I said, we typically get off topic. That's usually what happens here. There we went.
Okay, that's all right.
Is there anything else that you want? I mean, we're pushing an hour here.
Has it been an hour?
It's been 58 minutes already. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it, does it?
Wow.
I mean, I would say if you give me the rundown of SERVPRO, like I know fire, water, but you said there's other things.
So SERVPRO is the largest restoration company in the nation.
Oh, okay.
And so there's a large support level that comes with that.
Yeah.
An array of services, all residential, commercial. So anything that we do in a house, we do commercially as well. And that's probably more of my job than anything. Well, marketing is my number one, but commercial jobs are something that I'm very involved with and build those relationships with the commercial clients. But yeah, so it's fire, water mitigation, mold remediation, specialty cleaning. You think about hospitals or schools or public works, duct cleaning, commercially and residentially.
This is going to be a really off-the-wall question, but a friend of mine I think he still does work for food manufacturing. And they'll get they had to tear up floors because they had some kind of, I'm going to say salmonella, and I don't think it was salmonella, but it was like an E. coli or salmonella or something and they found it was in the subfloor under their tile. And it kept coming back. And is that something a company like yours would go in and find and do or fix? That's something
anything that has to do with that. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of different kinds of mold. Is it some? None of it's good. I would say it's good for you, right?
Right.
But I mean, there's mold that isn't going to hurt you, and there's mold that's going to hurt you. So you have to be very aware of that and whatnot. And we do a lot of stuff with biohazard.
Okay.
As morbid as it sounds, is death.
Sure.
If someone passes away, we come in there and we
Got the house.
Well, sometimes.
My next door neighbor.
It happens, and
a lot of the older folks, when no one's checking on them or they've outlived their friends and family, and all of a sudden they're there a while. Yeah, they're there a while.
We've seen it all. Anything you can think of.
I hate to be morbid too, but with Elder Network, I'm sure that's something you've had to deal with too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The visiting is, and I'll I do some Meals on Wheels stuff, which isn't. That's through Family Services of Rochester, but when my grandma was at a dementia stage that she didn't want to leave home, but she was still with it enough to say she got to live at home.
Right.
We did Meals on Wheels and things like, so Elder Network does like visiting and companion, like helping, not the medical stuff, but like do you need me to help with your laundry or should I help you grocery shop?
Come play cribbage for an afternoon.
Yeah.
Which we need that.
But
and
amen.
Yeah. And a lot of it is just that checking in, like someone, especially with Meals on Wheels, someone goes there every single day, knocks on the door, and I see your face, and I know you're alive. And that was my grandma. Like, we put Meals on Wheels for her simply because somebody looked at you every day.
Yeah.
No,
my mom was 2 hours away.
Huge.
I was 2 hours
the other way. Yeah, that's a good idea. It's even more about that than the food itself.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I never thought about that. That's a great angle.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the same with Elder Network. There's been times, well, in fact, the first person that my daughter and I were paired with got to his house. We didn't find him, but got to his house and the buzzer didn't answer. So then I called the office and they're like, we lost him yesterday. And I was like, oof.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
So
that's
and then
tough.
you got to bring in a clean
Right.
house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's this world that I live in with SERVPRO is very unique in regards to what you run into. It's different every day.
It's different every day.
Every day, and everything's an emergency.
Sure.
And we treat it as such.
Yeah.
But my role is really a brand ambassador. That's what I tell everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to tell you about SERVPRO, let you know what's available to you, and have a phone number to call when you need someone.
Sure.
So a lot of my efforts are with insurance agents and adjusters, first responders, anything, fire, police, whatever.
Right.
They need help with crime scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Or if there's a fire, we go to the scene and board up windows.
Mm-hmm.
So we can secure the home for those homeowners.
Sure.
So there's a lot of stuff we do. And if you ask my boss, there isn't anything we don't do, right?
Right.
And so it's a very unique business. And then also so Paul owns Meyer Design Plus Build too, which is a custom home building company, which is way different than SERVPRO, right?
Sure.
But,
Right.
so I just started that role here in July 1st, I think it was. And so I'll be overseeing all of his business development on that side of the business.
Nice.
So I'll be very heavily involved with promoting that business and
Sure.
helping him with his clients.
Is Meyer Homes Is that a different company or is that the same company?
I think you're thinking the same thing. So it's
Okay.
MEIER.
Yep. Okay.
And it's-
because do you know Lucy DeRosier?
I've heard the name.
Okay, because I met her years ago.
Oh, she used to work for Paul.
She used to work for. I think,
Yeah.
okay, so that's the same.
I think
Yep.
you're correct. And
Okay.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I've heard the name.
Yep, she moved to North or South Carolina now, and we keep we Facebook,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. We chatted once in a while, and then her husband was in our networking group also. He was a home inspector.
Oh, okay.
And Dave, yeah, super people,
Yeah.
great. But yeah, she was like a. I would assume maybe the job that you just took. I think that's what she used to do. She's kind of in sales, I guess. Maybe
Sure.
more sales than market development
Yes.
type. But yeah, just a sweetheart. And that's
Yeah.
but yeah, and he used to be, or his company used to be in a networking group.
Yeah.
Before.
So he owns an array of companies. His parent is Meyer Companies, is the name
Okay.
of it. And he has a realty company. He does a lot of developments.
Okay.
So like there's a new one in Northeast called Cassidy Farms.
That's what Lucy did.
Yeah.
She would sell the developments.
Yeah.
Because when they'd go in and take over and buy a chunk of land and yep.
So yeah, I'll be heavily getting involved. So I'm new at that yet. So I've got a team under me at SERVPRO, which I'm very blessed to have, and great group of guys. And so it's allowing me the opportunity to take on this other role. So it's tough to juggle 3 roles.
Yeah.
And
So company-wise, is it similar to how you explained Red Wing Shoes? Is that it's a company and then you're a dealership underneath it, or
SERVPRO?
yeah?
SERVPRO would be a franchise.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's nationwide. But then
Yes.
he owns
Yes,
this
nationwide.
Rochester
Correct.
location.
Well, he has Rochester and then Red Wing and Cannon Falls.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's like a triangle on the bottom southeast of Minnesota is our territory.
And then you have company kind of support
Yes.
over you if
So-
you need.
So if there's a huge loss,
Unless they
God
get something
forbid,
big, you can come together.
that's an agreement that SERVPRO makes you sign, saying
Sure.
you will work together.
Oh,
to-
even outside of Paul's companies.
Yes, if they need help, we're to help each other, and that's what really bought me.
That's
in,
great.
because it's like no loss is too large.
So if there's
then.
like a natural disaster, you could,
Yes.
you could have
Furbo
other
and-
locations
And I'm glad you
come
brought
and
that
help
up. So we do a lot of storm damage, or
Yeah.
if there's a hurricane, SERVPRO will go down, and
help the other.
they will help
SERVPROs.
other SERVPROs. Yeah, and
Nice.
That's great.
It's a very great. I just got back from Boston last week. I was there all week for SERVPRO convention in
Sure.
Boston, and I'll tell you, I've been to a lot of conventions in my life and different conferences, and this one was probably the best. I mean,
Really?
it was just so engaging, and everybody wanted to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you go to the convention, like, oh, geez, like, Friday can't come soon enough. There's none of that. It was very engaging. They have a clear vision, and they give back to the community a lot.
Nice.
And that's what really I love about it.
Okay.
They work with the First Responders Children Foundation. So if someone in the first responders field passes away on the job, or they take care of their family.
Wow.
And they have that foundation built, and SERVPRO comes in right alongside of them, and I think they're their biggest supporter.
Sure.
And also we're involved in the PGA.
Oh.
So we're the I guess the national sponsor for PGA cleanup.
Oh.
So we clean up after the PGA events
Sure.
and stuff. So they have a really good partnership
That
with them.
wild,
So I
crazy
really,
one. Isn't there one in Phoenix that's like
it's the Waste Management Open.
full circus?
Yeah. And it's nuts. And I want to go
I'm
to
out.
that.
I don't want that one.
I want to go to
I
that.
want to go. I
Yeah.
don't want to clean that one.
No, we're not cleaning that one. I'm not. Someone is. But
That's great.
no, so it's worked out great because I didn't need to come to work.
Sure.
I did it for my health, my mental health, and I'm glad I did because I've run into so many great people in Rochester. I wouldn't have met you guys.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't
Yeah.
have brought on this role and connected with James Stein. And,
Right.
So I'm very blessed to be right here where I'm at today. So
Fantastic. That's
Yeah.
a great story. That's a
Yeah.
great
I
story.
appreciate it.
So, one last question, because I got to get in one more Red Wing Shoe Store question before we're
Sure.
done. Is there any interest or future in picking up more stores again?
Yes.
Yeah.
There is interest. Will it happen? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a different question.
I think that if the right location became available in Minnesota or Wisconsin, I would
Something
certainly
closer to home.
Yes, I
Yep.
would certainly sit down and have those conversations and evaluate it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Either your girls, would they go that path?
No, so in that, you know, before I sold my other store, I asked them, are you guys, you know, they're young.
Right.
But I said, are you guys interested? My vision was always have 2 stores, one for each kid.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's why I wanted 2. I always wanted 2, one for each kid. And unfortunately, no, they're not
I said,
interested.
no, we're not doing that.
Not today, anyway. You know, that I think they'll look
Right,
back
they're
on
young
that later
enough.
in life and oh, maybe I should have done that.
Oh,
But
get ready. Because you have your 16-year-old,
I
right?
she'll be 16 in September, and
And
that's
is she changing her mind every other day of what she's doing?
you know, yes, she's had a 2 jobs now, and one was in the food industry, and she didn't care for that,
No.
which is okay. And now she's helping a guy on Thursdays on First
Oh,
lemonade
nice.
stand.
Nice.
So she'll work from like 9 a.m. till 10 p.m., but it's one day a week.
Yeah.
And she makes really good money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
And so she doesn't like the long days, and I get that.
Yeah.
But she is happy about the money, and
Right.
Well,
you know,
and then
I-
you get to have your summer the rest
Right,
of the days.
yeah,
so.
right. And of course they're going with friends, you know, at a teenage age. Friends.
Yep.
She's coming home tonight, but gonna stay at a friend's house tonight.
Yep.
And I'm like, I haven't seen you in a week. I want to spend some time with. Well, yeah, Dad, you'll see me this weekend.
Yeah.
You know. So okay. And I remember when I was that age, I wanted to run too.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
No, and that's my son, again, stressed relationship there in a lot of cases, but no interest in any of the businesses at all. And my daughter, again, no interest in the businesses. She did just start designing, drawing,
Her
coloring
book,
books.
Yeah.
oh really?
And so, yeah, with Design HQ, I bought into a bunch of binding equipment and learned that. Bailey and a couple others that helped me with that. They're picking up on the binding thing so they can produce the coloring
Sure.
books once Haley gives us all the designs. And so that's kind of fun. I'm able to help her with that.
Yeah.
But she still, I was like, I'm getting older. I'm getting ready to start liquidating these businesses, starting to sell them off and move on to other things,
Right.
And I said, am I saving anything for you? She's like, no, let's get the coloring books going. And, I want to, eventually I'll take that portion of, we're integrating into Design HQ right now, but then that'll business plan later on, we'll be able to divide that back out as the coloring book side.
So
you
you're
have
working
one that-
together then?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're working
Yeah.
together. It's pretty awesome. I got to say,
Yeah.
she's 25 and she's got a good job. Her husband has a good job. They both work in the medical. Well, she works for Mayo, but she's remote, so she's up in the Twin Cities. He works for Fairview Hospital.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Fairview is, and he's he works in the pharmacy. So, yeah, and he's got some aspirations. He'd like to start a business, and we've talked about that a little bit. And he said, let's get the coloring books going and see if we can make this work. And yeah, she called me. She says, I know you always want to do something in business, and I've got a crazy idea. You're probably not going to like it. I was like, well, don't work so hard to sell me on it, I guess.
Yes.
A little confidence, honey. Let's go.
Right.
What do you got? She goes, well, check your email. And she had sent me this little garden critters you've looked at, this coloring book. I was like, this is adorable. What, yeah, but it's coloring books. I mean, I don't know what kind of market there's for coloring books. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I mean, coloring books, there's only, about 100 million kids in the country. So,
Right.
and she's like, well, I was thinking more like coloring books for adults. I'm like, oh, gosh, honey, stop with the purple-haired people. I don't need this. And and so we kind of, I'm more conservative. She's less conservative, of course. And so we differ. Our views differ, but we get through it. We don't have, there's no reason to argue about things.
Right.
But I like to pick on her and she picks on me, So, but I told her, I said that if we do coloring books for kids, that will help fund I try to get through that mentality of when there's something you're really passionate about, that's not really work, and the more you can do of that, the better your life will be.
Yeah.
But a lot of cases, like in this case, if coloring books for adults is your passion, I'm not saying it can't be profitable, but it's definitely going to be harder to be profitable, take longer to be profitable than the coloring books for kids will.
Yeah.
So I said, if you've got the ability to draw and create these ideas for adults, you can do it for kids. Humor me. Let's start with kids, because that'll still be fun. You're not going to hate it, are you? And so now as she's doing it more, she's like calling me. I used to talk to her, a couple times a month. She doesn't live nearby, but we wouldn't talk all that much. Now I get to hear from her about every day or two.
Oh,
and
phenomenal.
the phone rings and it's like, and I pick up, Dad, check your email. Look at this. I just, you know, and it's just the enthusiasm in her voice. And her husband and I didn't get along very well in the beginning because nobody's good enough for your daughter.
Oh, yeah.
You know, right? I mean, you're a dad with 2 daughters. You've got a daughter. Nobody's good enough for your daughter. Well, he is good enough for my daughter. It just took me a while to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, so that's on me. But I didn't want to figure it out. I just wanted to not like him. You know, that's just.
Well, it's hard.
It is because like that's my little girl, not yours.
Yeah.
So back off, and you can't live life like that. You know, not when they're 20 something.
No, right. Especially
So,
but anyway. You know, talking about working with your kids, I'm not a political guy.
Yeah.
I'm just not. And my grandfather was a big how do I want to put this? Kind of, I looked up to him. He was a businessman. Mm-hmm. He owned his own business, and he always would say there's like 3 things you don't talk about at work, and that's religion, politics, and your marriage.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he really instilled that into me. But I'm going somewhere with this. Is what I mean is Donald Trump works with all of his kids. I think there's a couple that have their own thing going on, but I'm sure he's somewhat involved.
Right.
I really admire that. And I'm just full transparency. I'm not a huge Donald Trump guy. Okay?
Right.
But I admire that
But the
about
family
him.
values.
It means a lot. It makes me think. Right. Okay. You know, he's successful. He's built these companies with the help of his father, of course.
Yep.
And he has included his children in that success and get to work side by side. What greater reward is that?
And
to work with your children.
Well, and see what you guys agree, if you agree with this. As a parent, to bring him up, whether you're a fan of his or you hate him, doesn't matter. What end of the spectrum. I'm not talking about politics, like you said. Let's talk about family values. The fact that he can get on camera and tell you he's a good dad or tell you he loves his kids, that doesn't mean anything to me. What means something to me is when you look at all of his children and they all adore him. That's huge.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't have that. You know, I have 2 kids. And I'm 1 for 2, and that doesn't feel awesome, you know? So to have anybody, Donald Trump or anyone else, when you see the kids just look at their dad like, this is my guy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this is when I need something. And I had that with my dad, you know? I mean, if I remember one time I telling him we bought a new house, old house, but it had tile floors, and I told him I was changing out an outlet. And I never throw a breaker when I change an outlet. Touch one wire at a time. It's not a big deal, right? I mean, it's just, you know. Yep. But I said, I've got this neutral wire, and when I grab that all by itself, it tingles. Something's wrong, and I'm not an electrician, so it's like this is as far as I go. So I call my dad. We're on the phone, so he's not standing there. He's like, "Where are you at?" I'm like, "I'm doing a kitchen outlet," and he put shoes on. What? He's like, you're standing barefoot on tile floor with a metal bottom. He says, put shoes on.
Right.
I'm like, come on.
Right.
And of course, what do? I just go and I slip on, you know, I put on a pair of flip-flops and I stand there, I grab the wire. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Right.
You know? So, and I'm like, and you know, it's like just that, but that story it's such a simple thing. We're on the phone.
Yeah.
And he just knows how big of an idiot I am. And he just, he doesn't. We're not thinking about it. That's the first thing he bursts out. He goes, "Put shoes on."
But that I don't think exists so much anymore. That kind of jack of all trades. You know,
I think you're right.
You might be able to fix the car or fix the plumbing but you don't know just that little bit. And Jarrell always gets mad because he's like, you called your dad and asked what he would have thought and didn't just let me do it. And I was like, I mean, you can, but yeah, you're right. I did call Dad.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I mean, that was, I could tell you so many stories over the years on, you know, reupholstering furniture. And let's be fair, just because a guy reupholsters furniture and puts a water pump in the car and then puts a new wax ring in the toilet doesn't mean any of them were done right.
Right.
You know? And with my dad, he would have, when he was retired, he would have all these little old ladies that lived on our block. Like I said, we had all these widows that lived on our block, and they would all bring him a footstool, a chair, whatever it was. And he would make a new drawer for their dresser. And he, you know, whatever it was, and it always just turned out amazing. And so Jeremiah and I were having this conversation, the jack of all trades, master of none, you know? And I said, obviously when I was a little kid, my dad was Superman.
Yeah.
When I was a teenager, he was an idiot. And then when I was an adult, it's like, this guy's a genius.
Right.
I mean, it's just, because that's just how that evolution, but
Yeah.
it's like everything he touched turned out great. And it was just, and I always said, boy, if I could be half of what he is, or what he was, I'd be on top of the world. And, because I have a lot of my friends' dads, and now my friends as an adult, it's like, well, I can do that. Not well.
Right.
I say that out loud and I get myself in trouble, but it's like, yeah, it's going to look terrible when you're done. You should not do that. It's like me painting a wall. I understand that I have to go to Struve's. Bruce Struve's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
I'll go to him and I'll spend the money on the right primer, on the right paint. I will buy a good brush or roller, the equipment, the time to prep. I get halfway through the job and I just lose the want to be there. And then I just rush through the rest. I spend a fortune and it looks like crap.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I have figured out when it comes to painting a wall, you hire that done.
Yeah.
Jerry Fossum, hires that done.
This is the thing I don't want to do.
Yep. Because I know how to do it right. My first half looks as good as anyone's. But that second half, it does not. It just turns into a rush job and I'm just ready to be done. And when I'm ready to be done, and Heather says that too, she's like, is this a job that you're going to be ready to be done before it's done? Should we hire this one out?
Well
She does. Because she always asks me, do you want to do this? Because she knows what I can handle and what I can't. But then she's just like, we look at it and I'm kind of like, she goes, you're wondering when you're going to be ready to be done. I'm like, I am.
Right.
I'm wondering, am I going to get all the way through, or am I going to get to about there? And then it's like, yeah, it's not going to look so great,
Right.
And then it's time to, and again, life's been good to us.
Yeah.
So I don't worry about the cost of it anymore. It's like, nope, this is what I'm going to call Andy, and I'm going to have Andy take care of this.
Well, you find out what you're good at and what you're not.
Yep.
And, mine is numbers.
Yeah.
So I just hire the best accountant I can find because I know they'll figure it out. It's not my thing, and so,
it's funny you say that. That's my degree is in accounting.
Okay.
So I was always a numbers guy. So that was for me. When I was younger, I looked at where I could make money, not where I could enjoy making money. And so when I was younger, I worked hard. I was ambitious. I tried to be as smart as I could be. I mean, you're only given so much to work with, so I did the best I could. But it was all about making money. It wasn't about enjoying making the money.
Yeah.
Sure.
And now as we get older, it's like you start to realize a lot of people never figure that out.
Yeah.
And that's sad, And then some people figure it out and it's a curse because they figure it out and then they can't find a way to enjoy it.
Yeah.
They can't find something that they enjoy and be profitable.
That is pretty sad.
And that's sad, So I feel very fortunate to be in the situation I am. Sounds like yourself. I mean, Elder Network's very gratifying. I mean, and you've managed to, like say, enjoy your daughters, and you found a great place to land even as kind of a second career.
Right. Right.
So that's amazing. That's awesome.
I got a great girlfriend that stands behind me and supports me, and that right there
huge.
is probably the most massive thing, and like this. Hey, I got to go to a podcast after work, so I'm not gonna be home. Okay, So I mean that's a huge thing for me. You can't. I wouldn't be able to do all of it without support.
Yeah.
And
Well, Heather tonight, she does daycare. So she asked me beginning of the week, she goes, you got any podcasts this week? I'm like, yep. I said, Ryan's coming over on Thursday. I said, I'm gonna see if I can find somebody to co-host because I just enjoy the the three people in a podcast like this. And she's like, Thursday? Okay. Well, I'll see if I can find some training on Thursday night. That was, because when she asked, I still reminisce of, my previous life where that question would have came from my ex-wife and it would have been, yes.
oh, right.
Just wait for the back.
It's a trigger for
It's
you
a trigger and wait
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
backlash. Where she's like, okay, good. Well, I won't waste another night. I'll wait till Thursday. I'll do my training. So
Right.
she's upstairs somewhere on her laptop doing Zoom
Doing
training
what
Oh,
she
sure.
needs
for
to do.
daycare and getting that
Yeah.
out of the way. She just saves it for when I'm going to be busy. And
Right.
Yeah, she's so supportive.
team.
And
Yeah.
she's such a sweetheart. Just a wonderful
That's
person.
paramount.
Yeah. I always tell her, I was like, honey, I know you could do better. Just don't.
Exactly.
Stay with me.
Just don't.
Right.
Yeah, just don't. That's all. Just have pity. Just don't. Well, guys, we're sitting at a little over an hour and 20 minutes. I think we should wrap it up.
Okay.
Is there anything that you'd like to? Well, first off, before we get to that point, how do we get a hold of you if we have an emergency? If we need SERVPRO, how do we get a hold of you?
Great question. I'm glad you asked that. So, I'd love to say call me, right?
Yeah,
but
right.
we have a 24/7, 365 emergency line, and that's 507-286-9170.
Okay.
That is the best way to get us quick,
Quick.
and that's what clients need in their situations
Right.
with our business is quick.
In a soothing voice, not a screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And someone's always available. Someone's always on call. and that, there's always two people on call actually.
Sure.
So no matter what, someone's going to be available. They'll come help. And
Good.
of course, you can go to SERVPRORochester.com as well. So,
Yeah.
But thanks for asking that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Tiff, how about you? How do we get people involved in Elder Network? What could people do for Elder Network, and then how do they get a hold of you? Or Elder Network, not actually you.
So there's several ways to be involved. We've got friendly visiting, which we ask for like an hour a week that we pair you up with someone 55 or older to just visit or play cards or take a walk or drink coffee or whatever it may be. We also have companion services, which is a very discounted pay for the most part. Our population is that I think 250 times below the poverty level tends to be. So oftentimes they don't pay much for the services, but we do pay somebody to go be, help with cleaning or whatever
Sure.
it may be. We've also got a transportation program that gets people to and from, and that probably is the most important currently because we always have like a waiting list. And if you're going to the doctor, you're needing to get groceries, that can't necessarily wait till next week when we have somebody available.
And you don't necessarily have to have like a handicap accessible van to do that.
Oftentimes no, because you could pick and choose what appointments you can accommodate.
Sure.
We also do technology, so that became a thing during COVID.
So someone could help me with my iPhone.
Correct.
Awesome.
Yes.
That's that.
Yep.
All right.
So that's
I only have a year to go. And then
That's
I can do
exactly
that.
what it is. It's a mentor around technology, and we have iPads that we can share out to people that and help with like setting up Wi-Fi or whatever, so that
Sure.
they're just not as isolated as they might have been before. And then the other thing is that we help with the caregivers of our older folks. So there's services and programs, education, those things around. Maybe you didn't realize you were going to end up being mom's caregiver because she's got some memory care issues.
Sure.
And that. So you can, and that's a lot of times what that companion service is for, is you can go and, do your
Give them a break.
errands because someone's there helping.
Right.
But we also have things like Memory Cafe, which is a big group of people. So it can be like one person helping with, 8 or 10 of our older folks.
Sure.
So then their caregivers kind of have a break and they tend to play games and.
Awesome. Well, so folks that are interested in learning more about it or getting involved, how do they get a hold of you?
We are in the Rochester, Winona, Wabasha, and a tiny bit of Dodge County areas, but it's eldernetwork.org.
Okay.
And you can search and connect with what group works best for you.
Awesome. Well, guys, I really appreciate you guys both making time because, like Ryan said, we all worked all day, and then we come down and do this in the evening. So thank you and your spouses, the girlfriend and
Oh, Real's at work.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm
He's
like,
working.
I don't care.
No, so that's really great. Horrible experience. Liked it. What's your thoughts on the podcast?
I think it's great.
Awesome.
I've always wanted to do one. I've always wanted to run one.
Oh.
It's always been kind of a dream, and it's like, all right, well, what do you talk about?
Well, now you can edge in as being
Yeah.
a co-host.
Yeah.
And
Well, I'll tell you, if you're interested in that, I would absolutely love to have you back.
Put me on the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing that I just started is I have another podcast that we're just playing with. We've only done one episode so far. It's not even published. We just call it Men with Microphones, and I put a big group of us. Well, it's a medium-sized group. I think there's 15, 16 people on it right now. But it's a Facebook Messenger group of friends of mine, guys.
Yeah.
Not all guys, so you are definitely welcome. But it's Men with Microphones is the name of it. But and when I'm ready to do an episode, I put a message out to it saying we're going to do an episode at Saturday at 2:00. Mm-hmm. And with the room here, I don't really want to get more than 6 people.
Sure.
Right.
Honestly, that's kind of my max. I'd like it to be 4 or 5. And so then if you're on that message, you're like, ooh, I'm in. And so you put your name, I'm in, and then you put the number 2 behind it because obviously I'm going to be here.
Right.
So then if Tiff gets in, she's like, oh, I'm in, 3.
Yeah.
When we get to 4 or 5, I'm going to go, we're full. And then the other guys are out,
Yeah.
And all we do is we pick a topic and we just talk trash.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
it's not trying to be abusive or confrontational or anything like that, but it's just like our first episode was Craig Holschlag and Jordan Crillo.
You just picked on Craig the whole time?
Well, that was my idea.
Yeah,
But
that
then
would be
Jordan,
my idea.
Jordan's nicer
He's
than
too
I am.
nice.
He is. He's an awfully nice kid. Again, talk about kind of like a James Stein. He's smart, ambitious.
Whitcomb?
Nope,
Jordan?
this is Jordan Carrillo.
Oh, I don't think I've met him.
I haven't met him yet, but we'll have to meet you. You guys would
swing in to 7 a.m. crazy on Tuesday.
Okay.
mornings.
Yeah. If you ever have a sleepless night and you want to try 7 a.m. Tuesday, just come visit us.
No promises there.
But our topic was toxic masculinity.
Okay.
That was our topic, and it's like my first question was, does it exist? Is it a thing?
100%.
And then we had our discussion we had our discussion of is being a provider, is being the man of the family, is that truly toxic? And is that what we're talking about? And it was a lot of fun. Actually, we had a good discussion over it, and it was about an hour, and it went well. But so we could talk. I wouldn't necessarily talk politics.
No.
But you could pick a political topic if you
sure.
wanted. You could Epstein.
Right.
Take the Epstein list, like where we're at right now, current event. Should we, we could something
Don't
like that.
get me going.
Right.
I got lots of questions.
But see, that's where I think it would be really cool to have a podcast with 2, 3, 5 of us. Even more than 2, but 3 to 5, 3 to 6 of us, and then just go on that. And it's awesome when you get people with differing opinions on it.
Yes.
That's why politics is I want to do a political one. I want to.
Well, you better do that outside of your house.
Right. Yeah. Well, but and the only reason I say political, not because I'm so politically driven, but because I know it'd be easy to fill the room with differing opinions.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then and keep the brawling, to a minimum. But I want to.
Well, and you'd have to approach it that way. Like,
right.
we have to be friends afterwards, so mind your manners. Because, I know you and I are about as polar opposite on politics as they come.
Yep.
But as long as you mind your manners and don't take it personal.
Right. It's like when you start telling someone they're dumb because they don't agree with you, I'm not going to tolerate that, and I'm surely not going to do that to anybody else.
Right.
Yeah. We all have our opinions because of our experiences.
Yeah.
And your experiences, first off, you're younger than I am. You're a lady. Just those 2 things alone are going to create way different experiences than I have.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you start looking at some of the maybe more important aspects of life that we're way different in. Well, that explains where this comes from, and the influences you've had. But that doesn't invalidate my opinion or yours.
Yep.
But I would love to hear what you disagree with me on, and then why.
Well, there you go. You got your next podcast right there.
Well, but that
Well, and I will say I cried when I had to wear a bra when I was first a
See, I've never
teenager
cried.
because the boys figured out when we were playing football that now I had a handle to hold on.
Oh.
So I would like to be one of the men with microphones.
Yeah, that's right.
I am a huge tomboy.
That is awesome. Well, you are both welcome. If you'd like me to put you on the list, I would love to do that, because the idea is not to. I'm never here to offend anyone or make someone uncomfortable.
Right.
But I do want to talk.
Bicker.
It is fun to bicker. It is absolutely
you
fun
learn
to
a
bicker.
lot. You really do learn a lot. Even if you don't like it, you learn a lot.
You learn a lot, absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, when you talk about a podcast, you're doing it for our enjoyment, doing it.
Yeah.
But you also want people to listen to it and enjoy it.
Right.
And that bickering, that's content. It's awesome. And so that I said we just have to. Jordan and Craig and I kind of pioneered this, our first one.
Yeah.
And so our biggest thing was none of us want to offend anybody. That's really our,
Sure.
Now, I'll be the first one to say, probably more so than Craig will agree with me more than Jordan this. If my opinion offends you, I might take a little enjoyment in that, right? I'm not going to give you my opinion to offend you. But if you ask me and then I tell you, and somehow what the legitimate answer to your question is a trigger, I may giggle.
That is interesting, but true.
But but yeah.
I never thought about it that way.
Right. When you think about that, it's like if I know you and I are opposites, like we said. Mm-hmm. So for me to just start going on some Trump tirade just to get under your skin, that's crazy.
Yes.
Now, there's things about Trump that I like, obviously, and things he's done, and there's things that he's done that even I thought probably wasn't going to work, and now it is, and I get to brag about that a little bit because he's my guy, you know. But again, if you ask me, how could you stand behind this guy? Well, I'll give you a few examples.
Sure.
You know, and I think they're going to be legitimate examples, and I'd like to hear your opinion on them. You know, those are the kinds of discussion I get into, not about, well, if you pull your head out of your rear end, you'd know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's not that's not how you approach this. No. You know, and because I wouldn't take that well from you,
sure.
either. You know, so yeah, you want to keep it very above board,
Yeah.
and very respectful.
And respectful.
Right.
And, yeah.
Right. Well, I don't know about professional, because this is Men with Microphones. We want to talk a little trash.
Well, that's true.
But,
That's true.
yeah. But like I say, if what I say offends you, I'm probably not going to apologize for it. However, I'm not going to look for ways to get the reaction.
Right.
I'm not going to try to offend you. But we're going to have a discussion. In that discussion, if my opinion comes out and you don't like it, suck it up.
Yeah.
I mean, that, and,
Or say it.
Yeah.
But then say why.
but then say
and
why.
that's the
Right.
thing. is
That's
that
the discussion. Right.
If you stereotype like our youth, they love to take to social media and,
Right.
and
Oh, it
say their
drives me
things,
crazy.
but then they don't.
Keyboard warriors.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I'm all for if you have an argument and you can back it and you
Yep.
can
I want to hear it. I
go back
want to
and
hear
forth
it. Because,
about it. I love it. But if you're just putting a statement out there and
Yeah.
can't figure out why everyone's mad, well,
yeah. Because I am quite political. I'll say that. But I'm very pliable also. If you give me a legitimate reason that I should change my mind, I will consider that.
Sure.
I mean, I will give your evidence, your backing, whatever it is you have. I'll give it credence,
Yeah.
And if it's legit and it's something I hadn't thought of, yeah, I am nothing but pliable, It's a good friend of mine, very liberal, I'm very conservative, and we were talking at a wedding, and he was getting a few cocktails,
sure.
and so then he's kind of getting on me. And I told him, I was like, I don't do this to you. I don't do this to you. I don't try to get in your face. I don't try to, so don't do this to me.
Yes.
And so then if we were talking about, well, give me an example. I was like, all right, I'll give you an example of what annoys me about you that I don't think I do. He's like, what's that? I was like, let's talk about politics. I said, I'm going to use Donald Trump as the example. I said, as a conservative, I can tell you that I like what he does. I like his policies. I think he's a good president. Now, when he gives a speech and he starts name calling and he starts those things, that's difficult for me to watch and listen to. I don't appreciate it. And I said, it's his mentality. I understand why he does it, where it comes from. It works for him, and he believes it works for him, so he's going to keep doing it. And I'm not going to stop him, but that doesn't make it any less painful for me to listen to. Now I said, and he goes, what does that have to do with me? I was like, because when and then this was Biden was in office at the time. I said, when Biden trips on the stairs, when he can't find his way off the stage, when he can't find the front door to the White House, you have a million excuses why that's okay. When Trump gives a speech and starts name calling and he's not very presidential, I can turn it off and go, that's horrible. I hate that I do not like. You can't shut off Biden and go, that I don't like. This guy's not competent. Somebody's covering something up. There's a problem here. You just have to be this, well, this is fine. This is okay. It's, they're making a bigger deal out of it than it has to be. It's like, I don't make excuses for Trump. When he's being an ass, I'd say, I just shut it off. And I'm like, I'm not going to watch this.
Sure.
I said, that's the difference between us. I can bash my guy when he's doing something dumb. You don't. You just stand behind it 100%. I don't appreciate that. I'm not a lemming. You shouldn't be either. So, and now that's not to say everyone, like you say, not to, say, but for him personally, this was a conversation between him and I. And he just would never say a negative word about his party or his ideology. It's like, it's all flawed. We just have to pick what we like about it and stick to those guns. And then admit the parts we don't like and try to change it. It's SBR group. Was in a networking group for 20 years. I like to say there were things about that group that I liked, there's things I loved, there's things I didn't like, and there's things I hated. When we did SBR, it's like the things we loved, leave it alone, right? The things we liked, can we improve them at all? Can we love them? Is there a way to get it to that point? Let's try. The things we didn't like, can we get them to something that we can tolerate or maybe even like? The things we hate, get rid of.
Yeah.
Done. Don't put the effort in. But it's like that's the progression. That's the things we try to do. And you can do that whether you like Donald Trump or you like Kamala Harris or you're black, you're white, you're Asian. None of that matters. We're all human beings, like each other, and then respect my differences, and we'll all get along.
Yeah, I agree.
And with Men with Microphones, we don't really want to respect our differences. We want to pick on them. We want to get in there and just have fun with it, and not be. I want the same rules that a good comedian has.
Yes.
It's like, just let me go and don't judge me and then tell me why I'm wrong and we'll just have fun with it.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll put you guys on the list. I think this could turn into something fun, and if people like it along the way, even better.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, so I think it sounds like you'd be willing to come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Awesome. All right.
Sure.
All right. Well, guys, I had a ton of fun. Thank you so much for coming out. This is another episode of Small Business Talk with Jerry. One last sign off for everybody. All right. Have a great night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.